Walkout was great, of course. You know what I mean? Walking back out in the north in Manchester. It woke the crowd back up anyway, put it that way. A lot of people have told me that the crowd were asleep and tired and that until I walked out, and then it woke the gaff right up.
And when he walks out, it's like a fucking party in there, and he feeds off that as well.
It's really cool being behind Paddy when he walks out. I can see why he gets so pumped and why the crowd feed him so much, because like, I get like that.
Bobby just was being Bobby, wasn't he? Like the way he jumps in the cage and then staring down in the cage and all that, but you just get on with it, it's a fight.
Do you see there, Paddy looks huge, you can see the difference where I've paused it. You can see the difference in the size there, Paddy looks a lot bigger.
We know how big Paddy is for lightweight and stuff. He's tall, he's big, he carries a lot of muscle. He's got a lot of experience cutting weight, and he's good at it as well. Probably one of the best in the world at cutting weight, I'd say.
There's the first inside low kick, and then there he is pointing at me and me smiling back. There's a good picture of that. As Cormier's just said, Paddy looks huge. It felt huge compared to Bobby. And then there, that was one of the best shots I caught him with the whole fight. I hit him with a straight jab and I was made up with that. Kicks are a big part of the game plan, trying to use my range because we know how good of a boxer he is.
When we worked a lot for this fight, we worked kind of a lot on like distancing and making sure that like Paddy was kind of like, his head was always kind of out of reach of Bobby's punches. So as you can see now, Paddy's maintaining good distance, and he had his hands a little bit low, so he had like major head movements as well.
I think he realised Paddy was a lot bigger and longer than he thought. It made Bobby sort of try and get into like using his kicks, the low kicks, to try and feel his way into the hand range. So that's what he's trying to do so far.
Bobby there stepped in. I think that's when he realised even more. My reach was a lot bigger than his because he stepped in there with 2 punches and didn't get anywhere near me.
Paddy's doing a great job of controlling range with that lead hand out long. So there's the first time you've seen Bobby let his hands go, so that's what he's been doing. He's been feeling his way into punching range with these kicks to try and let his hands go.
And then I was feinting the leg kicks and he was reacting. That was a nice punch I caught him as well. That's probably the best punch of the fight.
The big thing about this was we knew that Bobby didn't respect Paddy's power, but when he was in there, he was going to find out right about it, and we were right on that regard. Like, you could see like he was getting frustrated with him, and he kind of didn't know how to deal with Paddy's size, not being able to use his hands as much as he wanted to because he can't get near him. And like I say, Paddy's just sizing that right hand up because we knew he was going to land that counter right on him at some point. There it is. But we knew at some point, I mean, I feel if the fight didn't go the way it went, Paddy would have knocked him out. Because most people probably wouldn't know that the game plan was actually to knock Bobby out.
The feints have got Bobby biting already. When we were working game planning again, we were working off. A lot of the time when you give him a feint with the lead hand, he reacts to it, whether he slips his head off to the side, he leans back. So we worked a lot of using the lead hand to keep drawing out them feints, to try and feint, to get him to lean his head off and then touch him where he's going to be. We'd actually thought he was going to slip him onto the high kick off them big movements.
Paddy's a great kicker, he's a fantastic kicker, very fast, very powerful with it. And you can see all Paddy's fakes and feints are working, they're keeping Bobby guessing all the time. He doesn't know what's coming and he's not comfortable just stood there right in front of him. And you see he's twitching him, he's setting him up for it.
Good calf kick, he felt that.
And then he started doing all that.
We knew when we'd done the breakdown and we watched a lot of the footage on Bobby, we knew that you land a good shot on him, he talks back to you. So that's a lot of the time I tell. Like he'll hit him with a shot and he'll try to showboat around it like it didn't do nothing, but actually, you know, he felt it, and from that calf kick there, knocked Bobby off balance. And Paddy, again, very mature, not getting drawn into it, sticking to the game plan.
So we're at the halfway mark now and it's all Paddy.
This is a part of the fight I'll never forget when Ellis shouted halfway and I was like, halfway, yeah, that's went fast. I didn't even feel like I was out of second gear. So I thought, yeah, I'll push forward a little bit more here because I've got loads in the gas tank.
So that low kick there knocked him off balance. So I've seen a lot of stuff online about this. Why did Bobby come out and shoot? He obviously never shot. He was getting hit in that leg and it was taking him out of stance.
A lot of people thought he shot a takedown, but if you watch it, boom, leg kick, yeah, and then he falls into it. So it was harder for him. It was harder grab hold of my legs and try and get on top of me, or end up on all fours and me end up on your back.
Bobby had a couple of options. One, put his hands on the mat, or two, try and wrestle on that single leg to recover and stay on his feet. If he put his hands on the mat, and he's probably worked this game planning for Paddy, he probably knew that Paddy was fucking spectacular at taking the back. So if he would have put his hands on the mat there's a good chance Paddy would have got to his back. So he sort of recovered and started to wrestle on the single leg.
So when he landed in that position, Bobby had to carry on wrestling, because if he didn't, Paddy would have took his back and choked him.
Got the guillotine grip. jump for it right away. Triangle's a much more safer one, and it's one of my favourite submissions, so it was like, yeah, switch to this.
Paddy there grabs the foot, cinches it up. When he done that, I knew he's not getting out of that this early in the fight when they're so fresh. Paddy has got a killer instinct, and that's what you're seeing here. Paddy got that split second, and he went for it, he dived on the neck.
And if you watch Paddy's triangle now, like, he's so good from this position. He keeps you on your side, squeezing like he's going to bring you over to a mounted triangle. And then once you start feeling that, you've already given the angle for it. He's got good head control. Now that's where Bobby goes to sleep, with his leg shakes there.
Now I adjust it. Now 154, I adjust it. When I lock my legs up tighter, he stands up, tries to push onto me, and then he falls there at 150. I think he's out now, and I think he's fully unconscious here. Well, I know he is. And then I take the arm, and there it was. And that's obviously why Bobby was out for so long after the fight, because he was unconscious there for at least 10 seconds, maybe 11, 12.
If you watch any of Paddy's triangle victories in MMA, you'll see that he always switches to the arm to break the arm.
The referee could have got on that a little bit earlier, but sometimes when you go to sleep, you'll go to sleep with your eyes will actually stay open. So if the referee's seen his eyes stay open, he wouldn't have known that until he's seen the body go limp. And Bobby's lying on the floor there, he's got his eyes open and you can see, but he's snoring.
Yeah, well, someone said that technically it's a flying triangle, because Rim said it, because I jumped into the guillotine and threw me leg over at the same time.
Can we watch that back? I'll show you why I think it's a flying triangle. Okay, so for me, a flying triangle is one that you jump for and that you're already starting to transition to before your back is on the mat, and I think this is a flying triangle. So if you watch it, Paddy hits the kick, it makes Bobby stumble, boom, that's a guillotine. Now, once he jumps and brings the leg over the shoulder, for me, that was a flying triangle setup. Perfect performance, that for me.
And that's what he's so good at. You make that one mistake, he'll dive, and he's confident enough to dive. You're seeing it, jumping triangles, jumping for guillotines, jumping for arm bars. He's very confident in his finishing ability, and if he knows if he gets you on the mat, there's a good chance that he'll finish.
As I say, guillotine's a bit of a risky submission, so as soon as I switched it to the triangle, I know he's not getting hard off. He's gonna have to do something very, very impressive to get out of my triangle. I've done it that many times. It's like one of my favourite submissions. My legs are that big and strong now. If I put a triangle on, no one's getting out.
Cut the fuck out of that, lad, make me look good, because I start to ramble and load.